What's going on, everybody? Rob Doster here from the Field of 68. And today we're going to bring you another episode in our NBA Draft Prospect Profile series. These are going to be dropping throughout May and throughout June, a couple a day. So if you do like this content, make sure you subscribe to the channel and do hit that like button. Anything that you can do to interact with these videos, it really does help the channel. It helps more people like you find this content. And since I have you here, make sure you check out our Instagram and TikTok pages. We are going to be pumping out more unique content over there throughout the spring and the summer heading into the 2022-23 college basketball season. Like, for example, did you know that Penny Hardaway was shot when he was in college? I didn't know that. You can find that story right now live on our TikTok and Instagram pages. The links for those are in the description below. So without further ado, let's get into another Field of 68 NBA Draft Prospect Profile. Welcome back to another episode of the Field of 68's 2022 NBA Draft Prospect Profiles. My name is Rob Doster. I have Randolph Childress here with me, and we are going to be breaking down Wake Forest forward Jake LaRavia, a transfer from Indiana State, a 6'8" forward that averaged 14.5 points, 6.5 boards, 3.7 assists, 1.7 steals, and 1.0 blocks. He was a stat sheet stuffer who also happens to be a guy that the stat nerds love. RC, he shot 56% from the floor. He shot 38% from three, and he shot nearly 80% from the free throw line. He was fifth out of the top 100 prospects in this draft in true shooting percentage. The only guys that shot better than him were the five elite centers in this draft. So talk to me about Jake LaRavia. Is he a guy that could sneak into the back end of this first round?
Yes, I think he's good at I don't know what he's great at, or if he's great at anything, but he's good at everything. He's one of those guys. I mean, underrated ball handler, can initiate offense. He can shoot it, can pass it. Better defender than people think. I mean, he's a guy that is a really good defender and can play in space. Now, I don't know if he's ever going to be able athletically to guard some of the better guys, but he's a willing defender. And I think he's a guy that probably will sneak in the late first round because of that.
Smart defender. He's in the right spot.
He knows his limitation. He knows how, hey, I can't get up on this guy. I gotta back off. I'm got to get him space. He can get physically in crowd guys. He's 6'8", he's 230, got good body, good size. I mean, he feels he belongs. I think that was one of the biggest things that jumped out when he first arrived, at Wake. Hearing the guys talk about him when he got to campus was like, this kid came on campus thinking that he really belonged. And you don't always get that from a low major school, coming from Indiana State, coming to the ACC. So when he got to campus, he was just like, hey, you couldn't tell him he wasn't the guy. And that confidence rubbed off on everyone. But again, he does everything well. I don't know if there's a weakness in his game. I mean, that you couldn't say, hey, he's pretty good at. I mean, he does everything: ball handling, passing, he shoots it, he rebounds it. Like I said, defensively, I think he does some good things. I don't block shots. He's not great at it, but he's really good at a lot of things that I'm sure a lot of teams with the right talent around him, he can fit right in and slide in day one and contribute.
Here's another thing I like about him. He was born on November 3rd, 2001. He is 12 days older than Ty Washington. Jake LaRavia is I believe he was a junior. That was his third year in college basketball. With all the COVID years and stuff, I don't know what his actual year is, but that was his third year in college basketball. He is 12 days older than Ty Washington, who is a freshman. He doesn't turn 21 until this November. So I think that there is still a little bit of a ceiling there. I think he was 6'4" when he got to Indiana State and then hit a growth spurt, and he's now 6'8". Here's a comparison for you, and a guy that I think that can play a similar role to what he does. Denny Avdia, right? A guy who is decently athletic, but he can grab and go defensively off of a rebound. You can put him in ball screens. He's a good passer. He's not going to be embarrassed defensively. He's going to make the right decisions. He's going to be in the right spot. I know Denny Avdia was a top 10 pick, and I don't think Jake LaRavia is going to end up being a top 10 pick. And I don't think Denny Avdia is going to live up to the expectations that were put on him for being a top 10 pick. But in terms of what he is right now, a guy that averages 8 points, 4 boards, a couple assists, shoots it like 33% from three. I think Jake LaRavia can play that role in the league.
So many teams now, you look at a team like Boston that has multiple guys. They're going to come out there on the floor and everybody's 6'6" and above. He's going to be that guy on the court with that size that you can plug in there to say, hey, we're switching everything. We're spacing. He has to guard, better ball skills than you think. Change. I mean, he really handles the ball. He played, he snatches and goes. So he's going to be a guy that, depending on the matchup, there's so much versatility with him. That's what teams are going to love with him, is that you get to say, all right, we can attack this group. And if they're guarding you, hey, we can put him in a ball screen with Jake. Like, that's what he brings. He brings so much versatility. And I think that there's a team, when you check every box, he checks so many boxes. He's not, like I said, he's not great. He's not we talked about his teammate, Alondas Williams early, and he was an elite passer. I don't know if Jake is elite at anything, but he's good at everything. Like I said, I think it's the best
that's my
compliment.
question is, like, does he have an actual NBA skill, right? Is he have one thing you can say, okay, he is one of the best in the world at that? Because saying that your NBA skill is being able to do everything only gets you so far when there's nothing that you can actually impact the game with. You know what I'm saying? So what do you think is does he have an NBA skill?
Well, I think he does, because then sometimes you can be elite at this. Like, again, we're using his teammate. Alondas is an elite passer, but he's a poor 3-point shooter. Jake isn't really poor at anything. I mean, he's shooting nearly 40% from three. So you got to guard him. His situation for so many guys is going to be predicated on who am I on the floor with and what system are we playing. You're not drafting him to say, like we talked about with Jabari. Jabari, you're coming. You're the face of my team. You're a part of it day one. We're going to build things around you. He's not that. He's a piece of saying, all right, I need a 6'8" guy in here that's going to ball move. Like, we talk about it, but that can defend guys. I mean, they're like Grant Williams, and Grant's worked his tail off, but look at the role Grant has done. We didn't think he could do all that, but he comes in, he defends. One game he gets 21 shots. The next game he may get 6 or 7. That's just his role. He's a role guy surrounded by, like, he needs to be in a situation like that. We're like, hey, you know what? You go worry about Tatum. You go worry about this guy. You go worry about these other guys. I just get to show up and just blend in and do my job. And I think he has the overall skill set that he just needs guides around him, but he has a skill set to help out. I mean, he's not. It's
all about fit, right? For him to succeed,
it's all about fit.
It's going to be about fit. So yeah, I agree entirely. Like, to me, he is an NBA player, right? Just flat out, he is an NBA player. But whether or not he finds NBA success is going to be determined by whether or not he gets into an organization that knows how to utilize him in the right way. And honestly, that's probably as a guy off the bench that averages 15 to 18 minutes, and you kind of use him as a secondary ball handler when you need him to. And that, when you have him in a spot starter's role, he's going to be able to do a job. And it's all going to depend on that, whether or not he can get in the right spot. He's going to be one of those guys.
You don't expect the ceiling to be high. He's a rotational piece. He's a rotational guy, but he does everything well. He's going to rebound. He's going to defend. And more importantly, he's going to stretch the floor and make shots. And every team needs a guy like that. So it's just a matter of, and he's professional enough to accept that role, to blend in. Like you said, he's young. There's still upside and growth there. He's not a 6-year. He's not a super senior or anything like that. He's younger than some of these guys, these one and done guys.
Not even 21. He can't even go out and buy a drink.
Yeah, he can't even celebrate draft night. He's going to be drinking milk and apple juice.
Well, listen, this has been another episode of the NBA Draft Prospect Profiles for the Field of 68. We just broke down Jake LaRavia, who I think it's fair to say both Randolph Childress and I are big fans of. I would not be surprised to see him sneak into the back end of the first round. And how about that? Wake Forest, 2 guys that could potentially be first round picks. That's why RC has that shirt on today. Make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. We have more than 40 of these prospect profiles rolling out throughout the month of May and the month of June. So until next time, we will see you guys later.